It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, June the 6th. Black Sabbath, a little bit of Paranoid makes me think. Is it me? Is it me? It's me, right? Is it me? It's not me, is it? Is it me? And, I was thinking this morning, about, me. I was thinking about Steve Gorman, and I was thinking specifically about the fact that I'm just a hell of a guy. I mean, come on. I am. Let's face it. Who am I to fly in the face of conventional wisdom? I mean, I'm really good at all the things that make someone a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
Well, at least I think I am.
All right. Well, for example.
Okay. I think we all think we're good. I think we all think we're great. Like, Zepp, you think you're a hell of a guy. Tony, you think you're a hell of a guy. Candace, we all know you're a hell of a gal. And I think everybody's got this general thought about themselves. The things that you think you're really good at. And really, I'm coming around to this. The more I look in the mirror, I'm like, really? Not, maybe not. Like, put it this way. Here's something a lot of people will tell you they're great at. I'm a great listener. And the truth is, I'm a horrible listener. Well, let me quantify that. I'm an all or nothing listener. Like, if I'm locked in, man, I'm locked in. And I'll remember every little detail you say, and I'll remember the subtext. And I've had conversations with people that I remember literally 20 years later. Every note. Mm-hmm. But to get me to that point of that much paying attention, it's damn near impossible. I love multitasking. If I'm washing the dishes, I'm also listening to music. I always like two things going at once. Yeah. And so for me, listening, sometimes my wife has to say, I need you to listen now. Oh, right. Because I don't even realize I'm like rearranging the shoes. Or where's that extra sock? Mm-hmm. I'm in the middle of a story. I know, but if I get to find that sock, then I can focus better. It's always my brain bouncing around. I got to put the phone down. I got to turn the music off. I got to make sure then not to turn whatever I'm listening to into a story about me. Because then you relate to something. Oh, man, that happened to me once. And then I watch the person's eyes just drop. The struggle is real.
Yeah. Or the best is when you think you're listening to someone and then you interject with a question, and this happens to me all the time, right, Candace? And then they say, I literally just told you what happened. Oh, yeah, I know. But I mean, could you clarify it? And then you do the tap dance and they roll their eyes and realize that you were not listening. For me, it's my memory. It happened to me on Friday. Oh, the iPhone thing. I remember, I'll never forget. I got the first one in 2003. For years I've been saying, 2000. And both you guys said, no, man, it's 2008. I Googled it. I'm like, are you kidding me? I remember that and people constantly challenge my memory. I think I have a good memory, but apparently I don't.
I remember information. I struggle sometimes with the source. And I notice that because I will tell my wife something and she'll say, yeah, I told you that. And I'm like, oh, she goes, information just goes into your bin in your brain and you don't remember where it comes from. I go, well, yeah, I'm not going to name check every person who ever told me anything. Like, I always have that thing when you say, like, oh, I love this record. And someone goes, I played that for you. I'm like, that's hardly the point. What do you want, a cookie? The music means something to me. Hey, you know what? And who played it for you? Do you walk around saying, my friend David gave me this record, and his cousin Gene gave it to him, and then his cousin Gene knew the engineer who was there when they recorded it, and the engineer met Paul Westerberg. No, you just say, I love this music.
Right.
But back to the listening, I got to get better because obviously, Zepp, I already forgot everything you just said. What was it, something about the iPhone?
That's such a Rickles line. What do you want, a cookie?
Yeah, what do you want, a cookie?
That's it.
What are you doing, milking a steer? He said that to me. I got insulted by him once. Oh, you know what? We're talking about you think you're good, but you're not good at something.
Yeah.
I immediately, every time this conversation comes up, I think of someone that I dated for a while who thought she could sing. And every time we were driving somewhere, she would belt it out. And apparently she did solos in school. And I went, well, that's because you were the kid. No one wanted to sing a solo in choir when you were growing up. But one person raised their hand, and the teacher was like, you know what, I don't even care. I'm half drunk right now. Go ahead and sing the solo. I think that was her. And then she had this belief that she could sing. and she could not. And she would just belt it out, which was fine. I thought as we were tooling down the road, it was always amusing to me, but it would sometimes happen in public, because she tried to out-sing people a little bit, and she'd go a little louder than they are, and we'd all look at each other, and I'm like, don't.
That's a tough one because there is generally feedback. Like when you say to someone, "I'm a good listener," if that person's just getting to know you, they can't immediately say yes or no.
Right.
But when someone can't sing, that's nails on a chalkboard time. You should pick up on the fact that when people's shoulders do that little hitch, hey, that doesn't mean they're so excited by what note you just hit. That means you just kick them in the shins, sonically speaking.
It is hard though. I would say when I started my Black Sabbath band, I went in it very confident and thought that I was very, very good at singing Black Sabbath, and I know all the words. I know all the lyrics to all the songs.
Right.
I can hit those notes. I can sing Ozzy no problem because it's really just yelling. And no, it's not really how that went down.
Well, because then you have that amazing opportunity to actually record yourself and listen back. And it's important that singers do that. It's important that anybody does that.
And as long as you have stage presence.
Yeah, well, that goes a long way, right?
No worries for our Candace. Stage presence galore, correct, darling?
I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
I can't wait. I've not seen the band yet, but I will. I'm just waiting. Just waiting for the heads up. We all have something. I do have. Okay, now I'll admit I'm not a great listener, and I think I'm a good driver only because I haven't caused an accident. As far as I know,
that's a good one.
I could very well. There could be a string of fender benders and cutoffs and swerving maneuvers in my rear view that I just ignored or didn't notice. But as far as I know, I'm a pretty good driver. But I still struggle with how horrible every other driver is, which tells me I'm probably no better because I've still got the blinders. I don't know that I'm as delusional as the guy in a Fiat for crying out loud, who yelled at me on 394 the other day. And I have no idea what I had done. I'm like, hey, there's a Fiat. That guy's angry. And he's looking at me just pointing and yelling. And then he just blasted on by. And I was like, of course, I kept saying, it's a Fiat, dude. Relax.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Who's driving a Fiat around in 2023? He didn't look Italian. He was just angry. And I guess I had done something, or maybe he just hates timber green. He doesn't like the color of my car.
He felt your judgment, your condescension to his Fiat.
That's probably what it was.
How about those people that do that? They get one of those cars, like a Porsche or something, then they immediately get defensive about it. I'm like, what are you being defensive about? You're the one driving the Porsche. I know, but what are you saying? The people that drive a Porsche, I'm like, you went there awfully fast.
I tell you one thing, I am that on the list of what makes you a good person are things that we think we're good at.
Yeah.
Humility. Let me tell you something, being humble. I'm the king of humility.
Yeah.
No one's better at being humble than me. Bow down to my humility.
Oh, I don't know about that. I feel like I'm the most humble person on the planet, damn it.
Clearly. That's how that works. We've all got some blind spots about ourselves, I reckon. We've got some blind spots, I'm sure, about even our spouses. There are things about my wife I just assumed she was going to be amazing at, or she had a natural, she's this, she's that. And then I think in any early relationship, it's easy to project what you want onto the person you're with. They click the first 3 boxes, and then the next 3 you just assume are going to work. And then at one point you look up and you go you're actually kind of grumpy, or you're actually kind of this or that. And they're like, yeah, what took you so long? And it's like, oh my gosh. So I guess that's me, king of the blinders. I guess I like to put on the blinders. I always assume the best in people.
Or if people don't tell you, I'm thinking of my friend Lisa. Her husband loves the do-it-yourself. I'm the handyman around the house. In fact, he brags about it. You can see her rolling her eyes behind him. As soon as he leaves the room, I'm like, did he not fix it? No, I fixed it before he even got to it. She has to sneak fix things, or after he fixes something, she says, oh, no, it works perfectly because she fixed what he didn't fix kind of thing. So
Sure.
But he thinks he's good at it, and she lets him have that. She gives him that victory in the relationship. What are we talking about?
My greatest self-awareness, honestly, is about my ability to fix things. I recognized early on, I can do it about 75, 80% as well as a real person can. And at some point you realize, I'm sick of everything being 75% right. I'm just going to pay someone else to do this. It'll take way less time. It'll cost me some money up front, but then there won't be the repair later.
Right.
They cost more. So I'm just going to take my hands away from the tools and let some people that know what they're doing do it.
Yeah, I'm completely helpless with that stuff, too. I always thought I'd be good at putting things together because I'm artistic, and so I could visualize it. But no, when
Are you,
I
though?
found myself...
Oh, wow.
There's something I believe.
Off the top stinking rope
I drew
wheeler.
a caricature of you, Candace.
Wow.
See,
right.
but I will have
Smokes.
to look at directions 5 or 6 times and just stare at them before I can do something. So obviously I'm incompetent.
I have the visual. I can read instructions very clearly, but like when I get something, the simplest thing to put together from IKEA, it's so simple. They just have doodles to show you how.
Right.
That useless. I mean, it's just the other part of my brain. I look at that picture, and all I think is, that doesn't look like a human hand.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't know what you're turning a screw. Is that a screwdriver or I'm confused, and then I just want meatballs. The whole thing. It's always confusing.
Do-it-yourself videos saved my life because before that, I don't think I ever put anything together right or well. But do-it-yourself, if someone was showing me, I'm that kind of guy. Well, we're all still feeling half-assed decent about ourselves. Shall we move on to Mike Evans' Hollywood Report? That always makes me feel better. Some of that behavior in Hollywood always makes me feel better about myself. He's got all the dirt here at 6:30. Please hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, June the 6th. It is time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. So I got a little story for you.
Okay.
On yesterday, I have a couple of afternoon affiliates, and yesterday afternoon I said, quote, "There's been a lot of talk that Taylor Swift and her current boyfriend, Matty Healy, are planning some kind of big announcement, they say, by the end of the year. Well, here's my prediction. It certainly won't be marriage. Taylor is already getting tired of Matty's 2-pack of cigarette smoking habit and his heavy drinking, and there's
Sure.
other problems. Hell, I'd be surprised if they were even together by the end of the year." And then 4 hours later, the announcement that Taylor makes that she is broken up with Matty. This Taylor Swift is so predictable, Steve. You could read it with Braille. You know what I'm saying?
Like Babe Ruth calling his shot. Mike Evans saw the end of that one coming.
I couldn't believe. She was saying how happy she was just 2 weeks ago.
Well, it wasn't meant to be. He's a notorious two-timer, kind of like you with these other affiliates. And I just feel like,
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm blocking her if she tries to call me.
Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah, right. You say that. We'll hold you to it.
Here's a goofy one. 79-year-old Robert De Niro, who, as you know, became a father a couple of months ago with his younger girlfriend, says he's never been more in love. And he's already said that he's called and talked to his best friend, 83-year-old Al Pacino, who we know impregnated his 29-year-old girlfriend, about play dates for the kids as soon as they are old enough. But hold on, Al Pacino demanding DNA tests to make sure the kid is his. You know what they call that, Steve?
What's that?
That's love Hollywood style. Right
Hey,
there.
man, I just love the idea that young Vito and old Michael are going to hang out together with their kids. That's exciting for me.
Amazing. TV news, while America's Got Talent is on right now, the ratings have been slipping. Britain's Got Talent ended last week. Their ratings the worst ever. My daughter Lacey and her family went to America's Got Talent shooting last month. She said it was just a joke. I don't know, but maybe it's time to stick a fork in America's Got Talent. It may be done. Do you watch that show?
I've it's on the list. I was just going to come around to it this season, but I guess I just missed the boat, huh?
Maybe.
I've seen like clips on social media. Somebody will share, and it's always the guy from some horrible situation. He's missing a head or something, but he can still juggle. It's always like, okay, I get it. Whatever. They don't. Is he better than the Beatles? No, I'll just go put on Abbey Road again.
I've been looking forward to get your opinion of this. Freddie Mercury and Queen catalog looks like it's going to be sold for $1 billion. What say you?
I'd say that there's no better time to get people making movies about your band.
Man.
Boy, $1 billion. I mean, Springsteen sold his for $500 million, and everybody that looked at each other and went, "You got to be kidding me! If Queen is worth $1 billion, what on God's green earth are the Beatles and Led Zeppelin worth?"
Amazing. Some Hollywood crap. In 2001, Sharon Stone had a stroke, and Hollywood basically turned their back on her.
Sure.
But good news to report, for the first time since then, Sharon and her best friend, Bette Midler, will co-star in a comedy together. So good for Sharon Stone. I like her.
Okay, I didn't know even about the stroke, which goes to show just how well they turned their back on her. I had no idea.
Exactly. And a quick odds and ends regarding the private jet that went off course over D.C. and F-16s were scrambled, and of course that plane crashed in the Virginia mountains. Boy, as soon as I heard that, I remembered exactly where I was, October 25th, 1999.
Oh, yeah.
When I heard about a private jet with an unresponsive pilot, also scrambled F-16s. They followed it until it ran out of fuel and crashed. As you know, the Payne Stewart's plane. Same. It was the same thing, same scenario.
Awful. It's amazing that it's only that it's 24 years later. But it just speaks to the fact that aviation's gotten pretty darn safe.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody, have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow from Hollywood. See you.
Right on. Thank you very much, Mike Evans.
I guess the upside, if there is anything in that plane crash, was I was watching a report on it early this morning, and that they just simply fell asleep. They passed out slowly.
Yeah, when it gets pressurized,
right.
It's not even that slow. It's within a few minutes, I think they say. But it's not a panic. Oh my God, where's the air? It's just everybody starts to get really sleepy.
Oh, they said about 3 to 5 seconds when a plane that size depressurizes to get to your oxygen before you lose consciousness.
Yeah. So that's that could certainly be a lot worse. It's a horrible situation, of course. Man, remember that Payne Stewart? That
right.
I believe that plane crashed. Was it South or North Dakota? One of the Dakotas.
Could be, but it was in the air forever.
Oh, 3-4 hours.
Creepy. Yeah.
And at the time, this was still before. I guess CNN was 247 News, but the other networks weren't as established. But it was the early days of infotainment, as they call it. But I remember putting on the TV and just getting updates for several hours. And then the worst part was that it was released that it was Payne Stewart's plane. It wasn't a mystery plane. They were like, Payne Stewart's on this plane that's going nowhere. He just won, I believe, the U.S. Open. He was at the apex of his career. Yeah, what a haunting day that was. I'm sure anybody that was around remembers that.
Yeah, no contact with it. I mean, was it hijacked? And then you realized at some point that everyone was dead and frozen on that plane. You're just waiting for it to come down.
It was a ghost ship.
That's basically what it was. That's exactly right. All right, let's look back on some happier things, maybe. It is June the 6th in sports history in 1945. Heavyweight championship, forever known as the good guys versus the bad guys. Yeah, that's D-Day. That's when the U.S. and its allies landed at Normandy Beach. Now, this was not a sporting event. Of course, it was far more significant. I would never make light of it. I just thought it was important to mention Operation Overlord. 156,000 Allied soldiers on the beaches of Normandy by the end of the day. That was the largest amphibious assault in the human history. Within 3 days, there were over 300,000 troops on the ground. Pretty incredible. Thanks, everybody. Literally, that's not like a trite thing. It's impossible to imagine the world had that not succeeded.
Right.
Within less than a year, from June to the following May, is all it took to put an end to the war in Europe. And on this day in 1996, interestingly enough, Marge Schott of the Cincinnati Reds, it was all over but the shouting. If you Google Marge Schott, June 6, 1996, you see a Washington Post headline, Schott praises Hitler again.
Shotzi the Nazi.
Shotzi the Nazi. Incredible. When someone Googles your name and Hitler together, you know it's not going well. Marge Schott removed from Major League Baseball. To get baseball owners to kick you out, do you know how bad you got to be? Pretty bad. Oops.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm on the KQ Facebook page. What is something you think you're really good at but actually aren't? Candace, for example, running the board. No, I'm kidding. This is not. No, this is not Candace's fault at all.
This is, guys, if you don't, I'll just come out and say it. It's my fault. That coffee didn't spill itself into the desk over here. Oops.
No, Steve, I got to take one for you. That urine didn't come out by itself.
It starts as coffee. It ends as urine.
So this is what they call flying blind, I guess.
Yeah, well, we can get in. How about the grandfather that apologized for picking up the wrong kid from school?
Oh, stop. I can't. So what's this story now? It's like a preschool little kid. He goes to pick up his grandson?
I'd like to start with, they described this as a senior moment, and the guy's 65 years old. I'm sorry, that doesn't clock with me, 65 being a senior moment.
I'm closer to 65 than 50. So that's a little unsettling.
You and me and both, brother. Listen to this. Here's what we've got to look forward to, I guess. 65-year-old guy. This guy's name is Joseph Fuller, Columbia, South Carolina. Went to pick up his grandson from elementary school a few weeks ago, spotted him, gave him a hug, his little grandson, asked him if he was ready to go. The teacher's aide asked if it was his grandpa, and the kid said, sure it is. I guess the kid was having a senior moment too. They get in the car and they drive home, but when they got there, Joseph realized it was not his grandson, it was some other kid. Apparently both of them got confused at the school because Joseph kinda looked like the kid's grandpa, and the kid kinda looked like Joseph's grandson.
Kinda?
Yeah, I think we have a school administrator here and grandpa chiming in. Hold on.
I went in and fill out the excuse to have him excused from school, brought him home. They are very resembling a lot, and that's how I mistakenly took him to be my grandson.
Mistakenly.
That's gross negligence on the school's behalf. And, my thing is to, make half of prevention put in place so that this doesn't ever happen again. But yet and still, we're wondering, why did you still go with him? Because he's only 6 and he's at school and the teacher's telling him to go. So he's like, I thought they were going to bring me to my mommy. So the thing now we put in place, don't go anywhere with anybody you do not know.
Well, don't blame it on the kid. Yeah, he's 6 years old. He's like, it's there are adults walking up to you in school telling you to do things, and at 6 you're just, as I recall.
Right.
You just do what you're told.
I can tell you this, for anybody who says, oh, it all worked out okay, and that can be kind of scary. It's not kind of scary. Just imagine yourself, a young parent, you show up at preschool to pick your kid up. We had a couple of instances over time at different times. You go, you drop your kid off for a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, or some hellhole like that. Yeah. And you got the luckily you didn't have to stay for the whole thing, but then you walk back in. What do you got? 11 seconds where you're calm, but then you're scanning the room looking for your kid. But there's a moment that's way quicker than you want to admit where when you don't see them, that panic starts to rise.
Talking about it, I get a little panicky. Yeah. I think of one instance where she was supposed to be here, and it turns out it really wasn't even 10 seconds. It was maybe a 3 or 4 beat.
That's all it takes.
Before there she was in my peripheral. I'm like, oh, that door. But I was, because all the kids had come out, I stepped through the door, there was no kid left in there, and I thought, you just literally freak out.
If either of my kids at 6 years old, if I heard their teacher say, oh, they already left with their grandpa, and, and the grandpa's standing right there. Yeah. I can't begin to imagine. And when that grandfather did come back and go, I can't believe I got the wrong kid, he'd finish that sentence laying on his ass.
Right.
Yeah.
A senior moment. Well, this is a junior moment. I'm going to break your jaw.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because it's cool. It's that level of panic and that level of adrenaline as a parent you would feel. Yeah, I'd be throwing hands every which way, trying to knock people's brains into some sense and get my kid back.
Or what about if that confusing moment when you realize Grandpa had brought you a better child? Just a little smarter, a little taller.
Yeah, right. I had my eye on that kid. Damn. I wonder
if anyone keep this one.
Maybe no one else will notice either.
Yeah, I want to hear that again. This guy's 65. Is this what we're going to sound like?
I went in and fill out the excuse to have him excused from school, brought him home. They are very resembling a lot, and that's how I mistakenly took him to be my.
All right, if that's how
you-
dear old Dad talked, I
Yeah.
wouldn't send him in to get the boy.
If you'll sound like that when you're 65 if you start putting plastic bags over your head and like limiting severely the amount of oxygen to your brain.
Something.
nothing to me to whoop a man down.
There he is, the angry Southerner. Or perhaps if I kept drinking like I did in my 20s and 30s, right on through to 65. Might be a little wet brain going on there. But all's well that ends well, and the school is changing its pickup policy.
Yeah, I got a call in. I was in Vermont. My wife went to the little preschool. She got off work, went to the preschool to pick up the kids, and it was the first day after fall setting the clocks back, so it's way darker. So she gets there at 4:30, but it's already dark, and she walked around to the back room where the preschool was, and that day, for whatever reason, they had taken all the kids and moved them to a different part of the building. So when she pulled up to where she would normally be, it was just pitch black. All the lights were out. There were no cars back there. And she just had this immediate, oh my God, everyone's gone for the day. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And in her, freaking out, trying to figure it out, she, first couple doors she went to, there was nobody. They were all the way on the other side of this building. And there had been a very late email that was sent. Like as she was driving, she had got, but she hadn't looked at her phone to see the email. This might have even been pre-smartphone now that I think about it. But regardless, they sent a notification out. She hadn't seen it. Lost her mind. I remember I'm just sitting, I'm like, just finished a sound check or I'm about to sound check. I'm in Vermont. I'm just like, do. Hey, babe, what's going on? Yeah. That voice at the other end. And all of a sudden, I'm like trying to figure out how the hell do I get to Nashville to go start the search for our children. And then, she's like, hang on, here comes someone. Oh, there they are. Okay. And she hangs up the phone. But, we had this nice 12 seconds of sheer blind panic together. And that's really true. My dear friend Nick Goverick, his son was missing for 10 minutes for real in Panama City, like on the boardwalk at a summer beach town. Thousands of people. They stopped into a little kiosk to look at the silly airbrush T-shirts, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, where's Percy? And then he's gone. 10 minutes.
No, I can't even go there. I can't even go there with my mind. Although I do remember, but Taylor, she was like 12 when that happened. Still a very young, vulnerable age where your eye is on the child all the time. But
scariest
yeah,
thing
they
in the
did
world.
the old, I'm going to my friends while in the neighborhood while her friend said, I'm going there. And they decided to walk to the mall where they were scooped up by some very angry parents once we figured out what was going down. And
I've never trusted Taylor. I always knew she was up to no good.
You really do know her. I know you say that in jest, but you've already made a big leap toward knowing her. No, she's developed into a trustworthy person, but yeah, she had my unfortunately hijinks in her. That apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, no kidding, man. We were saying. Oh, hang on. You know what? I think we do actually have a caller who wanted to discuss this grandfather thing. Candace. Hey, Candace.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Who have we got?
Betty from Barron, Wisconsin.
Betty, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you guys today?
We're all wonderful, unless we're kidding each other. How are you? How are you so far?
Well, I'm great, but this brought back memories. This happened back when my husband and I had a 9-month-old. It was our oldest. And we always got the neighbor to babysit. Well, she couldn't babysit. One night we were going to go out, and she gave us the name of her girlfriend, she's so responsible, and she'd be great with the boy. So we trusted her. We went out, and about 11 o'clock, we just weren't feeling it. We thought we were going to go home. Come home, and there's nobody at the house. Nobody. We went next door, woke up the parents, and the girl said, well, this is her number. I can't believe she's not there. So we called the parents of the girl that was supposed to be babysitting. They came into town, and we're waiting there trying to figure out, of course, no cell phones back then.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to figure out where would she be, blah, blah, blah. It's about an hour in. We're waiting. I'm getting more nervous. We were ready to call the cops. And here she comes walking in with her boyfriend and our 9-month-old baby. And
sweet.
I said, where the hell have you been? Well, we went to a party. My boyfriend came over. We didn't think it would be so bad to go to a high school party with our 9-month-old child.
When is it okay to punch a babysitter in the mouth? I think that would be holy.
My first thought was
I mean, the mom was livid. She was, I think, ready to strangle this daughter, but I don't think she was babysitting any longer.
Oh my God! Yeah, you know what? I bet her mom was couldn't have been equally as angry as you, but she was pretty darn close.
Oh yeah.
Very much so, very much so. And I'm hoping to this day it could have done a little traumatization to my son. I don't know. He could.
Hey, you know what? You can always.
On that.
No, I was going to say, hang your hat on that forever, man.
Yeah,
you got to get out of jail free card.
Wasn't you? It was her, that babysitter.
Thanks for the call, Betty. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye-bye.
We talked earlier about all the things we think we're good at. And you know, everybody, you can't help but you think like, I'm a pretty good parent because, you know, you get a win every now and again with the kids. We're all just doing the best we can. Ultimately, that's all you can really do. But there are moments when I look back on things that I said, or there are times I, you know, full on just think, oh my God, I'm the worst parent that has ever lived in my life. You know, you just get so wound up, or you believe your own child. He's not 5. He's my 5-year-old. He's different. I wouldn't listen to a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old about anything, but my 9-year-old's Albert Einstein all of a sudden.
Yeah, you know,
hell, it's totally insane.
This happened not that long ago, within the last year. Whatever television show we're watching, maybe it was a reality show. Again, Taylor the Magnificent, busting my chops. They come on, they say, well, every thing that's wrong with you, you can trace back to your parents. That old therapy line, that old Freudian thing, right? It all goes right back to mom and dad. And Taylor says, isn't that the truth?
Boy.
I said, what? She goes, well, I'm just saying I have some issues, and I can trace them back to you and mom.
Yeah.
Well, what's that? Not me. You mean your mom?
Of course.
Not me, because we're a divorced family. You know, we got divorced when she was quite young.
That explains it.
Sorry, Candace, did you want to enter the conversation?
I get it. I did some things, you know, and my behavior, which I share every morning, it didn't occur to me that, you know, that might filter down to the girls.
They're paying attention.
They are always paying attention.
So we're just going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And then
I hope that's why you were interrupting.
We've got radio gremlins loose in the studio, and Candace says we're taking a break.
Let's do it.
All right, let's take a break. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, and we are back because the radio SWAT team known as Candace Wheeler saved the day. We did have a little bit of a weirdness there, some technical difficulties. Thank you, Candace, for putting things back on track.
No one was hurt.
Thank you, Connor from Atlanta, who helped us out.
Well, Candace, Connor, whatever. Somebody did something, and we are greatly appreciative. We mentioned earlier, we were talking about a grandpa went to pick up his grandson at school and took the wrong 6-year-old boy home. And things can go wrong. And the 6-year-old, of course, you can't blame a 6-year-old for going with a strange old man when the teacher says, go with your grandpa. Maybe you're like, maybe I have a new grandpa. Maybe this is how they're springing it on me. So I don't hold anything against that 6-year-old at all. It's a poor kid. By the way, the story resolved. Everyone's fine. Everyone's okay. The right people are back with the right grandparents. But it was a bit chilling. But there's a story of a 10-year-old kid in Michigan, a 10-year-old boy who did, in fact, steal a car last week, got on I-75 and eluded police for a while at high speeds. A 10-year-old.
How did his feet reach the pedals? That's impressive.
He was in a 2017 Buick Encore, stole it from a driveway at a house. Several people made 911 calls saying there's a child driving a car on I-75. Troopers found the vehicle. They tried to initiate a stop, but the kid did not stop. Thankfully, there was OnStar. OnStar was contacted, and they disabled the vehicle. The car came to a stop. It bumped into a guardrail, and then the kid jumped out and hoofed it. He's 10.
Well, you're not going to stick around and wait for the consequences. At 10, you still think you can outrun authority.
Where's he headed, though?
I don't know, but I'm just going back. I can remember 10 very clearly. I think everybody can. For me specifically, because I moved from Maryland to Kentucky right after my 10th birthday. So I have some moments in my life that are very, very, very stamped. This was 10. I was not up for stealing a car at 10. I was not up for driving a car at 10. I wasn't up for driving a car on the highway at 10. And I sure as hell wasn't up for eluding the police and then trying to get away on foot once they disabled the vehicle remotely at 10. None of that checks out with my 10-year-old experience.
Well, kids are so much more advanced these days. And where's he headed, did you say, Tony? I'm guessing juvie is where he's headed. At 10, though, that's even young for juvie. Isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Redirection, and this kid's the president in 40 years.
Yeah, if he could just point, if he meets the right person, the right mentor, right? I'm guessing he already doesn't have it in his life.
He's a go-getter.
Oh,
boy. And got some serious skills. We just need to repurpose those into something for the common good, I think.
Yeah, Mom had the Buick Encore for a while. It's one of those crossover SUV things. You know, it's not like a little smart car where you can reach the pedals. Although it all comes up to you now. Now they have the pedals that, for those shorties, like my mom's 410 or something like that, I think, headed for 4.5. We told her, we said, once you get to 4.8, you're officially, I think we can, put your status as a little person. I don't know if there's some things she can get.
Is that the line?
4.9, I think, is to sit in the front seat.
Okay.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. You've been there recently with the boys.
I should get Mom a car seat for her birthday as a gag gift.
So this 10-year-old took himself, but as we reported earlier, sometimes it's a little bit of a different story where people take the wrong kid. Candace, we have a caller who wants to share something.
Yes, Kurt from North Branch.
Kurt, good morning.
Morning. How you doing?
All is well, sir. What have you got for us?
Well, my wife actually. She came home freaked out, and she was at Walmart, and she said my daughter was missing. And I'm like, what do you mean she was missing? She goes, she went to the front desk, and they did alert. They locked the whole place down, and come to find out, one of the employees found her, and they said that some guy came and grabbed her and told her that she was going to take her to her mommy and brought her in the back room.
Holy nightmare.
Yeah, so, I mean, kudos to Walmart for, locking the place down. When a kid's missing, they actually lock everything down, so.
Wait, did they get the guy?
No, actually, they didn't. My wife was actually like, I wish you would have been there. And I'm like, well, then I'd have been in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No
well,
I'm sure you guys could agree with that.
Absolutely.
100%.
Right. That's,
So, hey, do you mind if I throw a little plug in here?
Well, it depends on for literally, figuratively. What are we saying?
No, we got. I'm with the American Legion Riders, and we actually out of North Branch, and we have our Christmas in July ride. So if anybody's got a motorcycle and wants to come up, it's June 9th. Or July 9th. Sorry, July 9th.
Okay, so a month from now, up at the North Star American Legion, one of those just show up and ride kind of deals?
Yeah. They can go on the North Branch American Legion Riders webpage, and they can sign up and register. And come on. You guys come on up. We'd love to have you.
If I don't have anything going on that weekend, I'll tell you what I will do, though. I'll make sure I get it over my Facebook page. I got a biker buddy or two over there, and we'll spread the word for you, my man.
Right on.
Zep, I just wanted to say one thing. Thank you for all you've done for this country and everything else and serving. And I seen you at the Patriot Ride, and I'm sorry that we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry we don't. That was a great run, and we had a lot of fun and just a lot of memorable moments. Candace was there for many of those, if not all of them. And you bet, you're absolutely right. I have done a lot for this country.
That's my first question off air.
Some of it good.
A lot to this country.
Welcome to the city, Steve. And I tell you what, on these rides, to be honest with you, I mean, I did that Patriot Ride, and one lady told me that if it doesn't affect you, then you don't belong here.
Yeah.
And when I came back in and I seen that 70-year-old guy saluting, rainfall. I mean, I lost it. I really did. I could not believe the amount of support and the amount of caring that people do. And, we need to support our veterans. So thank you very much to all the veterans out there. God bless you all.
And to you, my friend, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
we'll
Kurt.
see you up there July 9th, North Branch American Legion Christmas in July ride. All right.
Right
Sounds
on.
good.
Thank you for that, Kurt. To his point, I can't imagine if there is one thing that anybody on any side of any spectrum can agree on to what he just said. We should take much better care and look after our veterans. And on today, June 6th, it's certainly which is D-Day for the younger listener who's like, well, what does that mean?
Call of Duty.
It's one thing that I do say, like no matter where you are on any other issue, supporting the veterans, we could never do too much. Put it that way. There are a few things in life you can say you cannot overstate the importance of taking care of our veterans, and on that we agree. And if these rides in any way, shape, or form bring comfort or anything to a veteran, then it's more than worth your time.
Amen. Yeah, my nephew, by the way, that's how he responded when I brought up D-Day once. He goes, oh, yeah, I know all about D-Day. I said, you do? Good for you, man. They teach you that in school? Where'd you get that? He goes, Call of Duty. I'm like,
Really?
oh, yeah, right, the video game. Sure, well, rock on with your bad self. He had a pretty good knowledge of it. It must be fairly accurate to some point. Anyway, he won World War II, so hats off to my nephew, Ethan.
Wow, fair enough.
Yeah,
Good
for getting us
job.
through WW2 there. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And the American Legion rides are a great way to do that, to get out. I mean, it's the easiest job in the world, right? I mean, you get out and you ride your motorcycle and you've done some good. So looking forward to that one.
That
a lot
is
of them out there.
That's a wonderful thing. I want to go back to all that you've done for this country, Zep, if we could.
Done to this country. Yeah, I don't. Let's not start making a list for crying out loud. Anyway, next, I know these topics this morning about the kids. I was remembering one little stinker because we were talking about bikers. Now bringing it back to the missing kid thing. Isn't that a fun topic for the morning? But how about the ones that hide? Those little stinkers. My daughter. Her first babysitting job, 3 boys, all 10 and younger. And they even said, as I was with one of my biker buddies, we're going out riding for the day, and my daughter Sydney was going to watch his 3 boys. And he said, I forget the name of the youngest one. Teach is going to be texting me here pretty quick. But he said, watch out for that. The other 2 were playing video games. See how this all ties together? And he pointed towards the younger one. He said, watch out for him, however. My daughter calls me and says he's gone. He's missing. He went outside. He's taken off down the street. I can't find him. She's hysterical. I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. First of all, we need to let Teach and Amy, mom, know. And I said, are there any neighbors around? Yeah, I've got the neighbor across the street hiding in the closet the entire time.
Of course, yeah,
that whole deal.
I was a big runner awayer as a toddler. I didn't get far, but I loved, and I'm sure it was just being the baby of 8 kids, like anything to get attention. I mean, the baby gets attention, but still not like what you're looking for any sort of shine, negative or positive.
Still are, I see.
Yeah, and I guess I got like everybody made a fuss once, so I decided in my 3-year-old brain, this is cool. I'm just going to keep doing this to the point where my mom bought a lime green like tracksuit. And I mean fluorescent lime green. You could see it from 100 yards away.
Yes.
And for a little while there, that's all I wore outside the house. If we were going anywhere, I was in that thing because I was going to take any chance I could to bolt and run behind a coat rack somewhere, and you could see me glowing like a bizarre little alien child across the room. My kids never had that thought, thankfully. As we said, you lose sight of your kid for 5 seconds, and you're in a bit of a panic situation. And I had to talk myself down. It's real easy. We also talked earlier today about all the things we think we're good at, and but when you're in a situation as a parent, that goes right out the window. You can't help override your central nervous system. My kids were way too old when I was still feeling that. Like, wait, they're not outside. They're not out. Hey, come pick me up at the mall. Okay. And I'd pull up and they wouldn't be right there. And I would be like, Steve, relax. It's only 20 seconds. She's 13. Like, she's with 3 friends.
Right.
All the 4 smart kids. Nothing's gone wrong. Blah, blah, blah. And then they come out and I'm all fine. But to be completely honest, once you get that alarm system revved up, it's hard to turn it back off. My daughter, as we speak, is in New Orleans for the first time. She turns 21 later this week. She's in New Orleans. And I have a continual subconscious river of panic underneath everything I do.
Well, of course
She's 21 years old this week, and I'm still like, oh, man, first time in New Orleans, running around with some friends. And again, she's with a group of girls who are all great, super smart, well-adjusted, responsible people. But, man, you just can't. Once that lid's off, it never goes back on as a parent, I don't think.
Yeah, you can't worry about her or her friends. It's everybody else.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot to worry about out there. I tell you, this is weird. I immediately I thought, are you people psycho? And now we're having this conversation, and I'm wondering if I could talk my daughters into it. And that is some friends and I talking recently, and the mom still tracks the kids in their 20s. And I'm thinking, oh, that's overparenting, that's overbearing.
Oh, on their phone, you mean?
On their phone, the tracking apps. But I guess a lot of friends do that, so they can always. I never felt that comfortable. Maybe I was just sneaking around too much to leave a tracking app on. But they still track the kids, and they say the kids don't care. They're like, I'm going to go where I want to go in my 20s, and if mom really wants to know where I'm at all the time, good, just don't bother me about it. But I guess it's just a comfort thing that
there is, and if you are listening and you're in your 20s and you don't want your parents to track you, try paying for your own damn phone. Okay, how about that? There's a great solution. Get your own phone and pay your own phone bill. As long as you're on the parents' plan, you can only override so many of your parents' sentiments.
I think my mom would have worried more if she knew where I was at.
But trust me, we all did our parents a favor by keeping them in the dark. Candace, we have a caller?
Jeff from Dresser, Wisconsin.
Jeff, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, how you guys doing?
It's great over here, brother. What have you got for us?
Great show. Anyways, about 40 years ago, me and my wife took two of our kids to the state fair in Minnesota, and I had a 4-year-old son, and I put a dog leash on his belt loop, and people were calling me so many dirty, rotten names and everything.
Sure.
And then about 3 years later, they make harnesses for kids.
Yeah, my grandma did that to me walking around Southdale. It was a little pink leash. She had it on my backpack.
Did you yank on it?
Yeah, I was wild.
Yeah, well, it's is it the same pink leash you use for Gigi? Did I hand me down?
No, but I mean, I get it. I get it sometimes.
Jeff, you're absolutely right. And now it's considered responsible parenting if you see a kid with a parent with a child leash at the state fair.
Jeff, did you lose your kid?
No, I didn't lose my
All right.
kid, but I almost got in a few fights. People wanted to punch me and everything. I'm not kidding.
I'm saying, job well done. You didn't lose the kid. That was you're taking a 4-year-old to the Minnesota State Fair. Yeah. You gotta be on a swivel head. Right. Your head's got to be on a swivel, I should say. And hey, we all do what we can. Yeah. Appreciate that, brother.
Yeah. Now, Jeff,
to be honest with you, that was the last time me and my wife ever went to the fair.
Oh boy.
Oh. Well, maybe if you let her take you out on a leash some night. I know a couple of things happening, I think, this week in Minneapolis. Could be fun for you.
Thank you for the call, Jeff.
You're welcome.
All right, let's truck along here. We're in that giving mood this morning.
Let's do
right
it.
Now on the Maple Grove Lock and Save Talk and Text line, we'll take 2 callers, 902-651-989-ROCK. We're playing advertising or advertising. For tickets to the Cure's sold-out show. Dig that Thursday at the Xcel Energy Center. Prize provided by Xcel Energy. Runner-up prize today gets tickets to Soul Asylum Thursday, 6/23, so June 23rd at Lakes Jam in Brainerd. I had to get that right in my head. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, June the 6th. And, we have been off and running. What a fine day it's been already. And it's about to be a lot cooler around here, especially Thursday night when the Cure play at the St. Paul Xcel Energy Center. That show is sold out. It's been sold out since pretty much the day tickets went on sale. But that doesn't mean you don't have a chance to go see the Cure. Has anybody here on the KQ Morning Show seen the Cure before?
I have seen the Cure right here in good old Minneapolis.
And how'd that work for you?
Oh, I thought it was just average. No, I mean, it's an amazing show. I'm a big Cure fan all the way back to the day. And they deliver. The thing with the Cure that I've seen them a couple of times in concert. I saw them at a smaller venue, kind of a mid-size, 6,000 seat theater. And in a bigger venue, there was about 20,000 people there. They sound perfect. I mean, they bring a studio sound to the stage in any arena that they play. And, and surprisingly animated. Robert Smith is surprisingly animated.
He's not a shoegazer up there at all, like they say.
No.
We did a couple festivals with the Cure in the 90s, and then actually spent a little time with Robert Smith. We were in Brazil, and they had all the artists at the same hotel. So in the hotel bar, for a few nights in a row, just all the bands would congregate and all hang out. And he was just completely just a dude.
Yeah.
And he was, had makeup and looked like Robert Smith. But then he'd be like, oh, yeah, was it? And he was talking soccer, and we're talking about Wimbledon, and we're talking about other bands. And, I saw Led Zeppelin when I was a kid. And he was just like talking with anybody else. And every now and again, we'd all be like, that's Robert Smith.
Did you want to just mess up his hair?
There was no point. It was you could have only made it. You could have only made it look better.
Right. Yeah,
It's just all over the place. But Robert Smith and his hair and his bandmates will be at the XL Energy Center this Thursday night. As we said, it's sold out, and we have a couple tickets we are dying to give away, and we're going to do that today. And Tony, exactly how are we going to do that today?
We're going to play this highly sophisticated game. Advertising or advertising. We're going to give you slogans, taglines. You tell us. Are they slogans for a real ad, or have you been had? Real or made up? Are they real or fake?
Oh, I like it. Advertising or advertising.
Yeah, man.
Let's rock. Okay, so I think we're all set here. Candace, do we have contestant number 1 ready to go?
We have Dick from Forest Lake.
Good morning, Dick.
Morning, how are you?
All is great on this end, sir. Are you ready to play a little advertising or advertising?
Well, we'll give it a shot.
I appreciate that that attitude. Tony, take it away.
All right, we're give you the slogan line. You tell me, is it real or fake? First one, Dairy Queen. Happy tastes good.
I'd say real.
See how easy that is?
The organs tell the story. You are 1 for 1, sir.
Number 2, Dollar Shave Club. Shave time, shave money.
I'd say real.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
I had to think about that one.
Number 3, who's your bird friend?
Who's your bird friend with that?
No, I'm asking you. I can hear your birdie in the background.
Oh, my daughter's place in the patio. He
Nice.
sets bird seed out for the birds, but the squirrels eat it all. So,
Oh, those darn squirrels.
Yeah.
Just rats with bushy tails.
They are.
You thought that was an ad slogan? The bird. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Give it to him.
you threw me on that one.
All right, number 3, Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. Welcome to pre-diabetic.
That's fake.
It is fake.
Well, it's real, but it's not.
Yes.
But it's a fake slogan.
They don't advertise that.
Right.
Number 4,
Cereal.
Minnesota Therapy and Counseling Center online. Just act like nothing's wrong.
That's fake.
Also real and fake at the same time. Yes.
I love it. Sounds
Well done.
disappointed when it's
I know.
fake.
That's
Fake. God, jeez.
one more for you, sir. Vaseline.
Okay.
Vaseline. Good choice. Give yourself a hand.
Steve, quit laughing.
That's got to be fake.
That's right. Good job.
Man,
Very impressive.
Thank you.
not an easy cleanup.
No, it isn't.
We've all learned these painful lessons.
You ran the table there.
Dick, 5 for 5. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
You can't get any better than that. So we're going to put you on hold for a second. We'll see how your competition does. Candace, who's contestant number 2?
Kathy from Forest Lake.
Kathy, good morning.
Good morning.
Is that Kathy with a K or Kathy with a C?
It's Kathy with the King.
Okay, I just have to ask. We're happy to have you on. Are you ready to play for some Cure tickets?
I hope so. I'm just waking up. I just woke up.
Well, rolling out of bed and calling the KQ Morning Show.
Do you have us on speed dial?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, Tony, take it away.
All right, love. Number 1, Sargento. We're real cheese people.
Well, cheese people.
Wow. Real or fake?
Fake.
Oh,
Sorry, that's real.
Dang it.
dang.
Dang it. Well,
Come
you,
it, Kathy.
Do it.
you just woke up.
Yeah.
I know, and I blew it.
No,
On the
not
first question.
That's all right. Listen, there's no shame in going 4 for 5 or 3 for 5 or 0 for 5. We're
Or
just trying to
blowing
have
it,
a good
for that
time.
matter.
You know what? There is a runner-up ticket package available, so let's just see how you do, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, just fun to play, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Already look at that bouncing back like a ping pong ball. I love Kathy.
All right, number 2, Chuck and Don's. Admit it, you thought those were real donuts.
No.
Correct.
Nice.
Number 3, Pickleball USA. When deciding between tennis and ping pong is just too difficult.
True. Yes.
Oh, oopsie. Sorry, Kath.
That's all right. That's okay.
Number 4, UPS. What can Brown do for you?
No.
Oh, that is real.
That was real.
She's like me. She just snickers every time she hears it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So embarrassed.
Oh,
no.
don't be embarrassed.
Goodness.
This is a ridiculous, silly game.
Let's go. Number 5, Tony. Where
Last
are we?
one, Peloton Fitness. Forget the gym. Stay home and fantasize about your trainer.
Oh, I like that one. I'm going to say no, though.
You are correct.
Nice job.
Kathy with a K, you went 2 for 5, which does put you in second place, which means as our runner-up, you will get tickets to see Soul Asylum.
Yeah.
Thursday, June 23rd at Lakes Jam in Brainerd. Congratulations.
Cool. That's a long ways.
Okay, but
We'll give you a ride.
But-
you will? Cool.
Yeah,
Who
sure.
wants to go with me?
the day is long and it's just begun. You've got plenty of time to figure out this plan.
I like it.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Dick, you, sir, with your 5 for 5 performance in advertising or advertising, rent tickets to see The Cure Thursday night at the XL Energy Center. Congratulations, sir.
Like you, sweetie.
Speechless. There he is. All right. Congrats, Dick. We hope you have a great time at the concert.
All right, thank you. Have a
You
nice
got
day.
it. We'll see you.
He was already texting friends bragging that he's going to the Cure.
Feeding the bird.
He's out there feeding the bird going, do you know any Cure songs?
That's the other thing about going to a Cure show. You go to a Cure show and you go, oh, that's right. They did this one and this one and
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and this one. They have about 8 hits.
There's songs that you've heard, if not on the radio, certainly a lot of movies, man. They got background scenes in some great films where, you're just, the mood is perfectly established. And then also The Cure, it needs to be stated, some of those early videos were incredible. I mean, the one with the camera swinging in on the rope, and Robert Smith is just manipulating it, and they're all in the room. I mean, they were on top of that DIY vibe, very cheap but very creative videos. I got nothing but love for The Cure, and my buddy Reeves Gabrels plays guitar in that band and has for years now. I think he joined in 2009 or 10, which is now, of course, 14 or 15 years at least. Great dude. Was David Bowie's co-conspirator in Tin Machine back in the day.
Jeez.
And it's just he's played with everybody, and he's an awesome dude, and I can't wait to see him because we're going to get together on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet.
That is, if he has time in his busy Cure schedule. Mm-hmm. We've been discussing maybe that very thing. I'm not sure what their travel plans are. We all travel a good bit. How about this? Here's a number for travelers. If you're wondering, because we say this regularly. Every single day, it seems there's another story about a flight gone wrong, an unruly passenger, somebody doing something really stupid or inappropriate on a plane. A new report says 1 in 568 flights now, that's the number, 1 out of every 568 flights worldwide had an unruly passenger incident last year. 1 of every 568. There are about 100,000 flights a day around the world. And so 1 in every 568 means you've got, the way I do math, chances are on your next flight someone's going to be a douchebag. That's how I look at that. I'm like, yeah, we're probably all due for that flight. Verbal abuse and drunk people are really 2 of the main culprits. That's what we hear about the most. The drunk thing especially. I just saw something online about a guy was pulled off of a plane in Nashville, too drunk to fly. And let me tell you something about Nashville, Tennessee, which is not now unlike New Orleans, Louisiana, in terms of how many tourists come there to just party their brains out. If you're too drunk to fly in Nashville, you're doing something.
Yeah.
The average guy getting on a flight in Nashville on a Sunday evening is drunk. Believe me, people are just like, get me out of here before I kill myself. They show up, they lose their minds, and then they thankfully leave. But yeah, that's one of every 568 flights. That's way up. It used to be one out of every 800 or 900. Basically, what it comes down to is we're all just getting a little crazier.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little crazy. I keep thinking I fly enough, 4 or 5 times a year, I think, averaging it out, that sooner or later I'd run into one of these, although on a flight earlier this year, and this wasn't really unruly, but it's one of those things that made you turn your head. I rarely have to turn my head on a flight, and look around like, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
You don't have to turn and look at a baby crying or something like that. Because you know what's happening. But this was a lady going, "I'm going to poop, sir." And that was the bathroom in the middle of the plane.
Uh-huh.
And they both arrived there at the same time. Or she arrived there shortly after him, I guess.
And was trying to cut line.
Right, exactly. And he's like, "No, you can just wait." I assume because that prompted her to yell, "I have to poop, sir."
Oh, man.
And I imagine he did let her go, by the way. He stepped back. He was like, "All right, I see something's happening here. I'm going to de-escalate. I can wait to do what I need to do."
Yeah, no shame in her game.
Yeah, if you're just going to get, going to get all rocked up, I guess.
At least she called him sir, kept it formal.
That's exactly
respectful.
Yeah, she did. She was a young lady, so good manners raised right, I guess, although you talk about the drunk thing on a plane, remember how things used to be different? I remember a flight attendant, wasn't a flight attendant, one of the, desk attendants there, I guess, at the gate, waking me because I had passed out in Las Vegas, of course. Maybe they do that in Vegas. Just get the drunks out of here. Put him on the plane. He's already passed out. He'll pass out again, which I did on the plane. But yeah, I was hammered, and they got me on the plane. They helped me on the plane.
I've seen drunk people, belligerent people on planes, but never beyond one. They get talked down. The flight attendant says one thing to put them in their place, and they've always backed down. I've never seen anybody ramp it up before. I did see a fight on a plane, the beginnings of a full-on fist fight between two gentlemen. Really? It was Atlanta to London, and I was seated behind. There was a family in the middle section of the plane, and then over by the windows where I was in front of me was just a couple. So it was like a couple with 2 kids in the middle, and across the aisle from them was just a couple, all British folk, all in their 30s or 40s. And the guy sitting right in front of me took his shoes off.
No.
And the guy across the aisle said, "Oh, I might put your shoes back on. Your feet smell." Yeah. And the guy said, "I do not." And then it just escalated.
There it goes.
And a guy stood up and he leaned over in the other guy's face and he said, "Your feet are offending my family." That's what he said. He said, "You put those shoes on or I'll put them on for you." And the other guy took his seatbelt off and they stood up and they were literally touching noses in the aisle. And it was just building, and the flight attendant came running, and I'm sitting there thinking, do I get involved? And I'm like, I don't think so. A couple of Northern English just dudes who are like, they're just excited at the possibility of a fight from the look of them. And I kid you not, the first guy, he said, "My feet don't smell. I just had a shower. These are clean socks." And the guy said, "Let me smell them." And the first dude sat down and he crossed his leg so his foot was propped up. And the guy that started yelling at him initially, the guy that began the altercation, he knelt down and he put his face right on that guy's foot. What? And he said, "You're right, mate. I apologize. It must be someone else." And they shook hands, and the guy sat back down, and it was over.
That's a joke.
Yeah,
I kid you not. I watched the entire thing, and I waited for them to later say, "We got everybody, didn't we?" They had no further interaction the entire flight.
No, you expect to see them as sitting at the bar as you're walking out, having a drink, going, and then you smelled my feet, and then I thought you were going to say they started toe wrestling right there in the aisle.
We're not going to do
that.
We're going
to do that. I've already looked at the photo. I've looked at the photo. If I'm going to get grossed out, we're all getting grossed out. Hey, this has been going on since 1974 in Europe. It's a real thing, toe wrestling. I made the mistake of Googling it because I'm like, how do you toe wrestle? I get thumb wrestling, leg wrestling, sure, just wrestling, but toe wrestling. Oh man.
I'll toe wrestle any of you guys any day, anytime.
Let you win.
Yeah, right.
Come
I don't
on,
know.
what's the big deal? Lighten up.
First of all, you can't toe wrestle a guy, Candace.
I can do whatever I want.
No, you cannot. You know why? Because then that's footsie. You just can't even. Then it means something because we're too weird. Us guys are weird. When we touch the foot of a woman, that's like touching any other body part on the woman. It's on. But toe wrestling, men and women toe wrestling each other, and wait till you hear what the 7-time world champion's nickname is. Have you seen this, Candace? Hang tight. We're getting to it.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Tuesday, June the 6th. Let's just get to it. I didn't want to talk about it. We teased it. Zepp, you mentioned it. Candace, you got excited about it. I'm horrified by it. We're talking about toe wrestling.
Yeah.
Big
Let's go.
toe wrestling. You know what arm wrestling is. You probably know what thumb wrestling is.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever heard of toe wrestling, but apparently it's been going on across the Atlantic for quite some time.
Yeah, big thing, I guess, over in Europe. They've been doing it since '74 and holding a world toe wrestling championship in England since 1994. In fact, there is a 17-time world champion. If that doesn't bother you, how about the nickname for the 17-time world champion toe wrestler, Alan Nasty Nash?
Yeah, sure.
It's obvious.
Yeah, Nasty Nash. Toe wrestling, it's hard to, it's basically, because I did the thing you said you did, I looked at a video. You have competitors seated across from each other, like on the ground. Yeah. They lock big toes, and you're basically trying to get the other guy's foot over to the left or right, depending on how you're facing it. Your big toe wrapped around their big toe, and you're trying to twist it one way, they're trying to twist it the other way. It just gets more and more. I never thought about, like, I've had a massage before. I don't have a problem with someone touching my feet in that realm. If I'm sitting on the couch watching a movie, sometimes I'll look at my wife and go, "Come on, a little foot rub. Come on." I mean, I'm great. I have no problems with that. But wrapping my toe around a stranger's toe in an athletic pursuit, it really every bit of my central nervous system, just all the red flags fly.
Yeah.
Well, we're not really strangers. I mean, I think we have to give the listeners what they want.
Okay, well, hang.
right.
Okay, well, hang on. You scoot a little to your left. Let me make sure my legs are longer than yours, so I got to back up a little bit. Hold on.
He's like 6'4". His foot is like the size as long as your head.
All right. Well, are you guys wearing sandals? Who else is wearing sandals in this building?
Nope, no sandals today. My
Tony?
feet are
Just you and me, kiddo.
covered. Yeah,
Just pink cowboy boots.
rocking them knee highs too. Well, here, maybe this is something we can get going at the back of the boat for the KQ Karaoke Cruise. A little toe wrestling there in the back on a hot, humid night. I have sweaty feet. I don't think I could even do this. I'd be slipping off the toe. This is Alan Nasty Nash, 17-time world champion, by the way. Think Guy Ritchie movie. You're going to understand about half of this. Talking about how he got into toe wrestling.
I've tried other sports in the past. Tried whitewater rafting and fell out. I went skydiving, nearly broke my neck. So I tried bungee jumping. No, didn't fancy that one. Tried hang gliding, hit the side of a cow, nearly broke my neck again. So I thought, toe wrestling came along. I thought, I think that's the one for me. So I had a crack at it that year, and that's the year I won, first one. And the rest was just history.
Nasty Nash described as a thick-footed champion.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Thick-footed, I would imagine there's a thick wrist involved as well. Mm-hmm. Probably got a hearty handshake. I like a guy who says, well, I wanted to do sports. I tried skydiving. I tried bungee jumping. Those are not sports, dude. Those are pursuits. Those are hobbies. Those are activities.
Yeah.
Did you ever try rugby? Did you ever try footy? I mean, and he goes, yeah, I signed up that first year. That's when I won my first championship. He won the first year in. That's called a God-given gift right there.
Yeah.
That guy was born to toe wrestle.
Thick foot. I don't know why they call him nasty. I don't know if because if you sat down, maybe that would work on someone's mind. You got a little toe jam going there or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the other thing is that's hard on the big toe.
I would think.
Yeah.
I got a strong big toe. I'm not that worried about it. I think this is it. This is my road I need to go down.
How do you know if you have a strong big toe?
You just know.
Yeah, I guess when you know, you know. I don't ever remember hearing you so elated or excited on the show about when we talk about goats. You don't get this excited.
I just feel like I could do this.
All
You're
right.
calling.
Well, all right. I mean,
what we could do is we could set up a series of strength tests for Candace's big toe.
Right.
Like we could start small. Like, okay, can you? We'll tie a little piece of twine or some little, just I'll say rope, but a little tiny something, and we'll attach it to various items around the studio. And if you can lift those off the ground without your toe giving way, we'll start with like an Encyclopedia Britannica, like the letter A. Let's just see how you do with that.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, maybe Candace is pulling cars around the parking lot with that big
with
toe.
that big toe.
You just never know.
This could be your thing. I mean, this could be your ticket out of here, kiddo.
We could, you know what? We could do like they used to do. We'll hook up a bunch of boats and see if you can swim, dragging boats with your big toe.
Yeah.
God, I can be a millionaire, billionaire.
Right. Just have a person stand on your toe and see if you can lift them off the floor just by picking your toe up. I knew a woman, and she was European, now that I think about it, who could unhook your pants, the top button of your pants with her toes.
Is that true?
That's true. She could do that. Yeah.
And she was European. You can't specify anything beyond that? You're just going to give us a continent?
One of the Danish, one of those up there, Finland, Sweden, maybe the Netherlands. Scandinavian. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. I should know that in Minnesota.
Well,
that word Scandinavian.
If you Google and find yourself on YouTube and you're watching toe wrestling championships, you'll notice right to the side, at least on my page, what pops up as other bizarre videos, including the Finland wife carrying championships from 2019.
I've seen those.
And you literally have dudes just running an obstacle course with their wife over their shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, they have something. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, the funniest part is that the wives are wearing helmets. The guy running the course isn't, but his wife is. So they're getting dropped regularly on a routine basis.
They have something similar in Wisconsin, and wife carrying championships. And the winner gets his wife's weight in beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you got to think about, okay, you want your wife then, you want her to be light enough where you can carry her and do what's required, but you want her to be heavy enough to make that beer worthwhile.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, these are all the kind of algorithms that come with a sport like wife carrying for beer competition. I like the beer fun run, the mile where between you run a quarter mile and then drink a full beer and run a quarter mile, drink a full beer. When you see those events, and I always think to myself, like, I'd be good with that first beer. But the second, by the time I'm drinking a second beer and continuing to run, I would have lost interest. The idea that you could run a mile and drink 4 beers, not a chance. It's just, at some point, I'm just going to sit down and enjoy the hops. I'm just not going to want to keep moving.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that sloshy feeling, right? As you run and jog and it just starts sloshing.
Yeah, it's not good.
What toe character would your toe be if you had a wrestling match? Would you have a character?
Well, obviously in wrestling you have to have a heel. So there's that connection. So what character would my toe be?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'll be like a gnome, so I'll just grow my toe hair out like extra long.
Oh my!
And then I'll put like a little cap on it.
I thought we had successfully moved on, and now you've got a hairy toe that looks like a garden gnome.
You could be the claw.
Yeah. I think mine would be the Undertaker. I don't know. When I think of my big toe, I don't know.
This has just gone from bad to worse.
Ric Flair,
the Crusher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Haystacks Calhoun put little overalls on my big toe.
Yeah.
Randy Savage.
Now you're thinking.
Actually, be pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about Jesse the Bod, Jesse the Toe?
Mine would be Handsome Harley Race.
I'd probably, honestly, like, I appreciate you growing out the hair on your toe for a garden gnome. I'd spit shine that bad boy and go with Gorgeous George. You know what I mean? Just the prettiest big toe in all of toe wrestling. Fairly sure that's where I'd go. But as nasty as toe wrestling is, I would be remiss if I didn't mention a story from Washington, D.C. A woman named Emma C. left an angry review on Yelp last week about a place called Nick's Riverside Grill in our nation's capital. She said she was double charged for her drink. Then they didn't return her phone call about it. She got home. What her story was, I had a drink. I was double charged. I recognized it, tried to call. They wouldn't return my call. She gave him a 1-star rating and said, don't go to Nick's Riverside Grill. Nick's Riverside Grill's manager saw that Yelp review, and he got online to say, oh, no, we did call you back. You haven't returned our call. You also had 2 drinks, not 1. And then he went full nuclear option. He said, oh, and by the way, you're the customer who pooped your pants in the middle of the restaurant.
What?
Oh, that's right.
From double drink to nasty in her own right. He wrote, she lost control of her bowels and left behind a huge mess. Can you imagine? And then here's the quote. We'd be happy to refund your entire bill with the understanding you never return to any of our establishments until you are potty trained.
Wait a second. I mean,
poke
is this
the
true?
bear and get ready for the claw, Emma C.
If she had pooped her pants at the bar, do you think she would have got on and left a bad Yelp review? Wouldn't you have walked away from that and...
Well, now
I've never been there in my life.
Now, a couple of her friends are saying none of this is true.
Okay.
They said online that there was a mess in the bathroom that happened while they were there, but it wasn't her. The restaurant responded to that saying, we have the whole thing on video. So either Emma C is inevitably about to be humiliated around the world because you know this is leading to that video being posted, or the person who actually did it is going, oh my God, I thought I'd gotten away with this. And they're just like they're messaging Emma C on Yelp going, please end this. Please stop the beef. Here's $100 for your next drink. I can't have this at the internet.
Oh man.
That's just such a twist. I love when you don't see the twist coming. You know, it's like this is like the Sixth Sense in a Yelp review.
Yeah.
No one knew Bruce Willis was already dead. Nobody knew MSC dropped a deuce in the middle of this restaurant. How could we have possibly known?
That's like, lobbing one over and they rocket it back.
Yeah, think twice before you post that negative Yelp review. Man.
Yeah, think twice before you have that second drink at the bar, I guess.
I was in a restaurant, my buddy's place in Nashville a few years ago now, and it's the kind of place where you order your meal at the counter, and then they hand you a placard, like a laminated postcard, and it was all of a celebrity. And so you'd get a postcard, and it would be Lucille Ball, and when your food was ready, somebody would yell, Lucille Ball, and then you bring it back to go get your food. We've all been in places like that. I was standing in line, and a woman in front of me, a younger woman, she was given her placard, and it was, in fact, Lucille Ball. And she looked at the manager, who happened to be my buddy, the chef there, and she said, it's a small little place. And she goes, oh, so, because I'm a girl, you hand me Lucille Ball because the guy in front of me got John Wayne? So you just do that? It's like a gender thing? Literally. And he goes, I'm sorry, what? And she goes, you gave me Lucille Ball because I'm a woman, and the guy in front of me got John Wayne because he's a man. And Nick goes, you got Lucille Ball because that was the next card in this tin, right? See this stack? I just grabbed the next one. And he goes, if you look around, I guarantee you somebody in this restaurant is holding one of those cards and it wouldn't match their corresponding gender. Okay. And she looked at him. She goes, yeah, we'll see about that. And then that was the exchange. And he just looked at it. He goes, okay, whatever. I'm just telling you how it works. And then she went down and sat down. And a few minutes later had her food. And literally the next day, he goes, check out Yelp, man. And she had posted this whole thing and invented an entire conversation that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I witnessed the entire exchange, and she turned it into a whole massive thing about these, rednecks in Nashville that don't want to. It went so off the rails. And I just thought, wow, there really are. They're just out there. People just looking for nonsense.
Oh, yes.
At all turns.
Oh, yeah. They are out there. And it's interesting, when you look at the reviews, because I'm one of those online shoppers, and I'll say, what'd it get? Oh, 3 out of 5 stars. No good. And then you go in there and you look at the 1-star reviews, and it's like, oh, no, the product was great. But that day that it arrived, stop right there. Then it goes off on some weird tangent when you read a lot of those 1-star reviews. They're just people with an axe to grind. I have a feeling that Because if you really love something, how often do we write a review? But if you really hate
100%,
something,
100%.
Yeah, if you really hate something,
Yeah.
you're always going to get on write a review. And a lot of times the reason you hate something has nothing to do with the something. I'm just talking myself into circles here, but
Well, I mean, I can look back on a lot of mistakes I've made in life, and when I start to really wind myself up, I just pick a random restaurant and give them a bad review and feel better. Hey, listen to this. The KQ Morning Show, we're all heading over to Chippewa Falls next week. Why don't you join us for a trip to the Chip? Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, for the Line and Kugel's summer kickoff. That is next Saturday, June 17th, a week from this Saturday, at the Liney Lodge. All of us are going to be there, and not just Zep, Tony, Candace, and myself, but my new band. It's called Bagmen. It's our first ever gig. We'll be playing at 4 o'clock that day. A couple other local bands from the area will be playing before us. There's stuff to do all day long. You can grab some very cold, wonderful Line and Kugel's beer, food, games, and more. Kickoff to the summer starts at 10 a.m. Saturday, June 17th. Bagmen, downbeat is at 4 p.m., as they say. I plan to rock and sweat in equal measure.
Yeah.
Get tickets at 92kqrs.com. Can't wait. It's going to be an awesome day, and I hope you will join us.
I am stoked for a belly full of summer shandy Lineys.
Why not?
Yeah. Hey, it's always a good morning when we get to speak with comedian Tom Papa. He has a new book to talk about here at 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Tuesday, June the 6th. Good morning. Momentarily, we will be joined by Tom Papa, the great stand-up comedian, the great actor, the great podcast host, and author. His third book is out very shortly. We'll be catching up with him. In the meantime, it is June the 6th. And a fine day it has been for us so far. And with that, without any further ado, Tom Papa joins us on the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. How are you?
Everything's great here. So let's just get right to it. So you've got 2 books already out. You've got a podcast. You've got another podcast. You got a couple radio shows. You're in 58 movies, dude. Take a break. What's with the third book already?
Yeah, this is the day. The third book comes out. Now I feel like I could smoke a pipe and walk around and call myself an author.
I was wondering, what is the line when you look at yourself in the mirror and actually say, author Tom Papa? It's book number 3.
Yeah, exactly. I walk around. It is funny, though. This is my third book. It's called We're All in This Together, So Make Some Room. And I feel like it's funny, and I feel like it's good. And then I did a book event, and there was a guy there, Nelson DeMille, who is this author who he was on his 30th book. Each one is like 600 pages. And suddenly I went from author to comedian standing there with a pamphlet.
Yeah. It's context is everything, man. We're all in this together, 100%. So make room. It's a great title. And I saw a chapter titled Ducking Your Family Even Though You Love Them. That's not a smartphone autocorrection. That's actually, I guess, how to get away from your family at times. The lesson of Mark Twain's cigars. I have a pretty good idea of where you're going with that. But that's something that we should all be taught much earlier in life, how to duck your own family, I think.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I knew, of course, Mark Twain was this brilliant author. And I went to see this museum where he wrote, and they had his ashtray, and they're like, this guy smoked 30 cigars a day. And I was like, that's impossible. And then I realized, oh, no, he didn't smoke them all, but he lit them all.
Right.
Because if you light a cigar, your wife and daughters are not going to stick around.
It's just that simple. In fact, anybody who does stick around, you got to think twice about that person.
Right, exactly. And the most important thing as a writer is you have to be alone and you have to concentrate. So he lit up those cigars like citronella candles and got his family. Not only did he get them to avoid him, they actually built him a little writing shed and put it out in the yard. So he had his own, in the 1800s, he had his own man cave, smoking cigars and writing. I was like, oh, this is why Mark Twain is brilliant.
That's exactly right. Tom Papa's with us on the KQ Morning Show. I don't. This might sound weird. I don't mean it to at all. But what's the most surprising turn in your career? Is it acting in so many films and TV shows and doing a wonderful job? I will note. Is it writing books? Is it now hosting radio and podcasts? Or were you the kid at 18 who just thought, yeah, I'm going to pretty much do it all when I get there?
I think it's probably the writing of the books is the biggest surprise. I mean, I knew I was going to be a comedian when I was a kid, and then, with that, watching all these great actors in SNL, I figured, well, I'll try and get into things and have parts in things. But yeah, to actually write books, it was kind of a faint idea. But now that after I did the first one, a lot of comedians write books and then they're like, I'm never writing again. That was hell. But I really liked it. I really enjoyed going deeper into the jokes and spending the time in the process. So I guess that's probably the most surprising is that I now have 3 books under my belt.
So go back to when you said you knew you were going to be a comedian, or about what age did that start to take shape? Maybe not in actually mind. You kind of had it like, that's me. I'm going to do that. That's where I'm going.
Well, I was making kids laugh really early. I was doing like funny songs and doing stuff like even in like kindergarten and first grade. But it was 7th grade. In the summer of 7th grade, I realized all the kids went to summer camp, and I was left with older kids. And the only way to kind of survive with them was to make them laugh.
Sure.
I knew that was my place. And that was the same summer that I learned about Steve Martin and George Carlin. And I was like, oh, this is a job. This isn't just screwing around at the pool. Like, I could actually, if I keep this up, maybe I could be a grown-up, and this could actually be my work. And that was it. Once I learned that the comedian was a thing, that from 7th grade on, that was my goal.
Oh, that's fantastic. So Steve Martin and George Carlin, who's a lesser-known comedian that was one of your inspirations along the way?
Oh, lesser known. I mean, so many. I just learned. Once I clicked in and discovered, I just started digesting all of it. I mean, anytime I saw someone on a late night show or a special or something, I would just digest it. I mean, even like old timers like Jackie Mason or Buddy Hackett. I mean, if you think about it now, like, it's kind of weird that a 13-year-old kid was watching Buddy Hackett live in Vegas.
I had that thought. I'll be honest. I was like, Buddy, really? Okay.
Yeah, but it excited me so much to see these grown-ups. Everyone in my life was like a business person, and that we had no one in the arts. And now all of a sudden you see Buddy Hackett, who looks like the people in your life. He's there in a suit, in a tuxedo, and but then saying the most inappropriate things. I just loved it so much. I was like, oh, there are people that are not taking this life that seriously.
And
I'm going to follow them.
I love it. We're all in this together, so make some room is available today anywhere you find books. We are speaking with Tom Papa, author, celebrated author, 3 books on the shelves. Don't look at him sideways.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. At any point along the way, going back to those earlier days, do you ever strap on a football helmet or pick up a guitar? Any sports or music in your life?
Yeah, I was an athlete my whole life, up until college, and it's funny because I played guitar like a little bit when I was a kid, but once sports wrapped up, then I got a little heavier into guitar,
right?
And now both of them pretty much remain untouched for the last 20 years.
Ever get a band together with your buddies? Were you ever in a band for even a day?
Yeah, we formed a band for my father's 50th birthday party, and we called ourselves Hot and Bothered.
Yes. Well, the eternal search for a good band name. You've just added a name to the list. Thank you for that.
Yeah, the band was the name was much better than the band.
Yeah, Hot and Bothered. Is that really a birthday present, or how'd the old man take it? Was he happy, or was he like, Jesus, this is my kid?
It was pretty great. We wrote 2 originals, and they were really funny, and we made everybody laugh, and the whole party was really into it. And then after that, we started getting into the covers. We played like the Rolling Stones and a Zeppelin tune, and halfway through the serious music, the people at the party went back to eating food and wandering off.
Sure.
we thought, no, this is really this. We're going to play "Gimme Shelter," and that's where we're really going to blow the roof off. And they're like, the funny part's over. All right, we're going to go do something else.
I love teenagers trying to get "Gimme Shelter" to be taken seriously. That's fantastic.
We thought we were really something.
First concert you ever saw, what was it that you liked? That was
Van
cool.
Halen.
Oh, yes.
Madison Square Garden, Van Halen, 1986.
Right on.
During Jump, yeah, that was the first concert.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, you started on top. It was downhill from there for those next few, I'm sure, at least.
Yeah, that was really a great one. It's an interesting thing. I was literally just talking about this. Like, what do the kids go, like, the rock band? Like, you would wait all year, and the band had an album, and you were like, when are they coming to our town? And then they'd roll in, and everyone would go see them. I don't think that experience really exists anymore unless you're a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah, they on a much smaller scale, for club bands and stuff. But then also the fact that you see the show before you see it, because everything's up on YouTube from the opening night of the tour. Like when you saw Van Halen, you had no idea what to expect.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, they see everything now. But I hope that bands are still. I hope rock isn't dead, is what I'm trying to say.
It's you got to look a little harder sometimes, but it's out there. There are great young rock bands, but they are not, it's not a water cooler conversation like it once was. Tom Papa on the KQ Morning Show. The book, We're All in This Together, so make some room, is available as of today. When are you hitting the road next, speaking of Van Halen on tour?
I'm on tour constantly. The summer's going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to do just like 1 or 2 a month, and then the fall it cranks up again. I'm coming to St. Paul. You guys,
beautiful.
Where do you guys broadcast from?
We're right there, right Minneapolis, St. Paul, right on the line, baby. We're accessible to you wherever you are.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll stop by when I come to town.
Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and consider that a confirmation. We're writing it down.
Booked.
I appreciate that. All right, in the meantime, we'll read up. Tom, thanks for taking the time, brother. It's a pleasure to talk with you.
Appreciate the support, sincerely. I'll see you when I come out there.
All right, sounds great. We're all in this together, so make some room. That is available now everywhere. Tom Papa is a guy that I know several comedy writers, people in L.A. who've done it on various things for years, and Papa is a guy that everybody name check. He's a comedian's comedian, as they say. A guy who behind the scenes has nothing but admiration and respect from all different manner of the comedy world.
He never literally stops working. I mean, he has a podcast out there with Fortune Feimster. It comes out in podcasts. It's on a couple of different things. I think is brilliant. And then you start looking at that. I'm looking at his bio, and it's tireless. You're right. I love this new essays book. By the way, I'm on Amazon right now for no other reason than essays. That's my reading speed right there,
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but he's got this whole thing on pets and cats. Ancient menace, question mark.
Yeah,
so I just want to torture my cat friends with that.
He can go in a million different directions. And I mentioned it to him, a really good actor. You see him and stuff, and you're like, wait, who is that? And then I've done it a million times. Like, oh, wait, that's Papa. That guy's really good in everything.
You know what? I just saw him in Air, the Affleck Damon movie, where he plays Inman, the Portland Trailblazers general manager who gets kind of stuck with that bad draft, the worst draft pick of all time. Who is it? Bowie? I think he drafted
Sam Bowie.
Bowie, that's right, out of Kentucky instead of Michael Jordan. But in fact, they cut a scene out of there. Ben Affleck was talking about that included Tom Papa because he said he directed him wrong, and he just thought when he was editing the film, because he said he kind of blamed it all on Inman, that he should have known better. He said, but no one at that time knew that Jordan was going to be the GOAT, let alone Bowie was going to be, kind of a dud. So anyway, ended up cutting that scene. But I think
that busted shin bone while still at Kentucky was a bit of a tip off.
Yeah.
When you got a 7-footer who's already had lower leg problems, it's not usually going to end well.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the lesson we all learned from the draft of '84, I guess.
All right, sports, music. You got some history here for us, buddy?
We'll see what we can whip up.
We'll see what we can whip up here at 9:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, June the 6th. Remember, for those of you who pay even peripheral attention to the world of golf, so a couple years ago, this announcement came down. There was going to be a new golf tour, the LIV Tour, funded by the Saudis as a rival upstart to go head-to-head with the PGA. And people in the world were like, wait a minute, you can't have a second golf tour. This makes no sense. And the PGA got very upset when some of their golfers, like Phil Mickelson, signed massive deals with LIV Golf. And then LIV Golf was attacked as, all that's wrong with money and sport and finance and black money and blah, blah, blah. And then the PGA was accused of being a stodgy bunch of old dudes. And the two sides just were at each other's throats. And it's been this huge drama for the last few years. And who's going to win? Anyway, they just announced they merged today.
Oh, man.
The PGA just announced they have merged with LIV Golf, which just goes to show it's as long as there's a ton of money on the table, who cares about the rest? They just created a big fuss for a couple years, and we all complained about Phil Mickelson taking $200 million, and you've destroyed the competitive spirit. If you're getting that kind of money, then who cares what you shoot? Now, as it turns out, PGA Commissioner just put out a statement. After 2 years of disruption and distraction, this is a historic day for the game we all know and love. Blah, 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 blah.
If you can't beat them, buy them.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what that says. It's just that reminder. I like to play golf. I don't call myself a golfer. I own golf clubs. I hit balls with them, but I'm not a golfer. I'm a hacker.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who every now and again, fights a good bogey round and comes in with like an 84 and feels like I just won the Masters. That's as good as I'll ever be, a guy in the 80s. But then I see this and I'm just like, ugh, gross. And why do I even care? I don't care, but I care. It just bugs me. Something about the whole enterprise makes me think this was the plan from day one.
You wonder, because it kicked up so much dust, so much publicity, and of course those players that started to defect with players like Brooks Koepka, and top-tier players. I'm thinking of the Australian guy that won a major last year. Now it's with the terrible mustache. But anyway, Cameron. When those guys started defecting, and then we're talking about some things with the PGA Tour that just would, just old school, wasn't going to change, wasn't going to listen to the golfers about the schedule and spending time with their families and increasing purse sizes, that something like this was going to happen, because the answer wasn't LIV. LIV was not going to exist on its own.
Right.
I mean, it was just because it wasn't. Of course. I popped in a couple of times. It wasn't entertaining.
No, it's totally different thing.
Yeah. So.
And again, this has nothing to do with my feelings about the game of golf, which I love and I look forward to playing. I got the clubs as we speak in the car. Make no mistake, I will go out there and just trench a fairway with the best of them. I mean, I love playing golf. But I look at the pro golfers. I went to the U.S. Open once. I've only been to one PGA event, and it was the U.S. Open. And I got to say, and this was within the last 10 years. Boy, it sounds different when those guys hit the ball. I mean, when you are standing at a tee box and any number of the pros there, when they hit the ball, honestly, it sounds like there's a firecracker added to the impact. And I've just never been more blown away and more in awe of you're doing something that I know how to do, but we aren't doing the same thing by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Just insanity. I felt embarrassed to say that I played the game after that.
I felt the same way, and I went up to one of our courses here to watch a senior PGA tournament, and I was just watching them over at the range. I mean, they're just the irons. And I'm like, oh my God, it was insane. Yeah, they're doing something different than I do with my golf clubs.
We were talking earlier in the day today about things that we think we're good at, but we actually aren't. I've never made that mistake with golf.
No.
I've never, ever. I mean, and I've had decent rounds. I've never broken 80, but I've had 80s. I've shot 80 before. But even then, I was playing with a guy who had like a 70. So I was like, yeah, I just suck at this game. It's just nothing like it. My son is a better golfer than me. That happened a few years ago, in fact. Something about your kid. He was probably 17 the first time we played 9 holes, but he came in with a lower score than me, and I was like, boy, I'm just still not good at this game.
Being younger helps. If I had to go back and do it all over again, some of those sports that I am not carrying into my 40s, 50s, like baseball and even football, had fun playing those at the City League level for quite a while. But I think I would have gone back and played golf, knowing that that's something I'm going to play or want to play for the rest of my life. Learning it young is learning that swing young, you never really lose it. You know, I know those guys that, I was on the high school golf team. You know, I haven't golfed, though, in 30 years. Let me see that thing you've got there. Is that whack, you know? Oh, it's a little more draw than I wanted to put on it.
Yep, entirely true.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to you, Zep, because we were talking about the band, the Jayhawks. I sat in with the Jayhawks Sunday at Grand Old Dave just for one tune. The singer-songwriter, leader of that band for all these years, Gary Lewis, great guy, great musician, great songwriter, scratch golfer as a kid.
I think he mentioned your golf game on stage, though. That's when.
Did he?
He said something about your golf game out there in front center.
I didn't
Mike,
hear
I don't
what
know
he
if you
said.
heard it, but you know what I thought when he said it? I went, I'm not going golfing with Gorman.
Oh, no,
you're just setting us all up, and
I'm
you're going to
not.
go out there and go, I guess I'm just having one of those rounds.
I'm not. I'm telling you, but he sharked me entirely. Like, I play a little golf. We were on the road, and it was in 93, I think. Had a day off. Hey, man, I'm going to go play. Do you want to play with me? Yes, I play a little bit. Haven't played in forever. That whole thing. And we went out, and he shot on a course. We were in Savannah, Georgia, and he put a score up in the 70s, a legit like 78, 79 on a course he'd obviously never seen before.
Wow.
And it was on the second hole where I went, okay, this is not just you didn't just have a good drive and a good approach and 2 putts. You're actually a golfer.
Yeah.
And like to your point though, it was the swing. He had that same swing since he was 10 years old.
Right.
It's like, man, I'm out there just, I've never had 2 swings that looked alike.
No, to God, no. In fact, I'm the king of getting out there and teeing up and of course, lowering expectations. Anyone I'm playing with, I absolutely suck. And I don't know how many times I've done this, but I've teed up on one there and just crushed it down the middle.
Sure.
Just a free swing and just watching it go away. Everybody going, oh, here we go.
Uh-huh.
And then I start to demonstrate. After about the 5th hole, they're like, oh, man, dude, can we get rid of him at the turn?
Dude, you guys and your golfing.
I'm the king of the par or even sometimes birdie on number 1.
Yeah.
Because there's no expectation, so I swing nice and easy, and it's just a couple straight shots and a chip and a lucky putt. Next thing you know, everyone's like, here, like to your point, you're like, oh, here you go. But it falls apart by the 5th hole. It's over.
Yeah, over. But
so, Candace, Candace, we're going to go hit a bucket after the show today? Is that what you're telling me?
I will. I've never been golfing before.
Ever?
Never,
really?
ever. And I'll do it. I just
never gone to a driving range.
Nope.
Oh, well, come on.
Let's go. After I master toe wrestling, I'll start my golf game.
The day
I
is
wonder what's
made.
harder. Don't we have one of those top golf things where you can drink beer and play golf? Don't we have one of those?
Top golf is wonderful.
Isn't it amazing how quickly the brain works when I heard Candace say, okay, after I master, and I was like, what the? Oh, toe wrestling. Hey, it's time to look back. How about a history lesson?
What is today's importance?
Steve! Oh my God, that's Steve!
Well, what do you know?
Okay, this is not sports history, but it would be insane for us not to mention that it is June the 6th. Operation Overlord on this day in 1944, D-Day. 156,000 Allied soldiers hit the coast in France of Normandy that very first day. 4,000 Allied troops were killed that day who were defending the beaches. 4,000 troops went down on this day. We are eternally indebted to everybody who was a part of that operation, of course, not just the Europeans. I mean, the United States, the world is impossible to imagine had that not gone successfully. So on this day, all those years ago, man, well done, U.S. and their allies. Of all the movies ever made about D-Day, The Longest Day, remember that one?
Yes.
That was one that was on in the house as a kid a lot. Saving Private Ryan, of course, very different reasons. I think that brought home the reality of what that was actually like in real time in a way that no other movie had done up to that point.
Yeah.
And there's been several others we could name check all day long, but But of course, like anything, no movie could ever possibly cover what it really was. You cannot imagine what it must have been like to be. And we still have D-Day veterans amongst us. And it would, we mentioned this earlier on the show, too. We can never do enough for those guys.
Amen.
Any veteran of any war, we can never do enough.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.